What happens when the Flash runs out of time? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites so that we can read it dramatically back to you. All art is owned by its respective companies, and don't forget to support your local industry by buying online or at your local comic book store. 5 years from now, the Flash arrives at the scene of an accident where they're carrying Iris West away in an ambulance. The police captain tells Flash to back off because they haven't even ID'd the kid yet, and the Flash pauses. Kid? A teenager flatlined right after the EMT got here. The Flash takes off as the captain tells him, "You could have stopped this, Flash. Why weren't you here?" The Flash runs over to see Wally West dead on the street. We now come to the current day, where the Flash is dealing with the aftermath from the events of Forever Evil, and Daniel West, the Reverse Flash, being in prison. He feels weird, like he's losing time, and he's seeing a doctor because he wants to help everyone. Why can't he be that fast? Fast enough to save everyone? 20 years from now, Barry is in a blue Flash suit, and he's counting all of the years that he's lost. But he knows how to fix it now. He can make everything better, and as he looks at a newspaper clipping of the death of Wally West, he takes off to one more stop before he begins his journey. The graveyard, and Iris West rolls up to him in her wheelchair. "I wasn't expecting you here. Only a person who doesn't want to be seen sneaks into the cemetery at night." Staring down at Wally's gravestone, Flash tells her, "I'm the reason Wally isn't 32, married, and has 2 kids today. I'm the reason you're in that chair. I should have been there. Stop it. You don't get to do this. I made peace with my mistake a long time ago. Why do you even care? Iris, And the Flash removes his mask, revealing to her that he is Barry Allen. "I loved him too, like he was my own." "Barry? No! All this time, the years we've spent together." "None of that matters, Iris. Time is running out, and I will fix this the only way that I know how." "No, don't you dare say that! Not to me! You know what those idiot notions did to Daniel. Even if you succeed, you won't come back the same." "I'm not coming back, Iris. Goodbye. I'm sorry for everything." And with that, the Flash takes off for Gorilla City. Sitting in the throne is Grodd, king of Gorilla City, eating the brains of Eobard Thawne from the 25th century. "The Speed Force is broken, Grodd. You can't ignore it. It fractured the first time Daniel West traveled through time, and we've made this worse. It's time I buried you for your actions against the Speed Force." And with that, the Flash charges into Grodd's back. Grodd gets up to his feet. "How often must we play this game, Flash? You either run away before I kill you, or you run away because you won't kill me. No more, Grodd. You use the time stream like your own personal smorgasbord, and I'm here to end that. You want to fight to the death? Then you've got it." He rockets in and sucker punches Grodd with the force of his speed. But Grodd also has the Speed Force at his disposal, and he manages to match Flash's speed, catching him and shoving him into a wall. At that moment, the Speed Force creates some form of feedback, throwing Grodd off of the Flash. "You see what you've done? The Speed Force is the lifeblood of time itself, and it's bleeding out of us." The Flash then runs over to Grodd and he slaps him on the side of the head. Grodd begins to come to his senses and he hears a beeping in his ear. "What did you do?" "I put a micro bomb in your ear, and no matter how smart you get, you will still be a gorilla with fat gorilla fingers." And then, Grodd's head explodes. The Flash walks over to his headless corpse. "Wish me luck. If I succeed, you won't need it to have been executed like this." And then he's gone, traveling through time to correct it finally. 16 years from now, the Flash re-enters the timeline and he sees that he's made it to the right time and the right location. This is the time that Mirror Master was trying to rob a gala, and he's right in the building next to the Flash right now. Mirror Master begins taking a hostage and then demanding that everyone throw their valuables into the nearest mirror. But that's when the Flash arrives and he begins throwing the civilians into the mirrors. Mirror Master then jumps in the mirror to get away from Flash, but since Flash threw everyone in, he also threw the cops in, which hold up Mirror Master. So Mirror Master jumps out, leaving only him and Flash on the outside of the mirrors. The Flash then runs over, breaks Mirror Master's arm, taking his mirror gun, and he throws it through the mirror to one of the police officers. He then tells the police officer to wait 100 Mississippis and then come back out. Then turning back to Mirror Master, he tells him, "Your arm won't hurt much longer. I came to help you, Scudder. What you don't realize is there's about to be a freak earthquake that'll shatter all of these mirrors, and it would have killed 11 people here." Then as proof, the Flash holds up a newspaper clipping from the next day. "The people died here because I was late. I was losing time. But I'm going back now to prevent any of this from happening, to fix it all." And then the Flash takes off again, traveling through time, leaving Mirror Master there alone in the middle of all of the mirrors as the earthquake comes through, shattering them and killing him. 12 years from now, the Flash arrives at Captain Cold's bedside to be there when Captain Cold passes from bone cancer. This is another moment that he was late to, and he's felt guilty for it ever since. He has a seat next to his former enemy and his friend, and he explains that the Speed Force is broken, but he's here to fix it, to make up for all of those times that he lost, to save Wally. Remember when they let you join the Justice League with a full pardon? You have no idea how much that peeved me. You in the Justice League. I admire you for it now, though. You didn't care about the innocence you hurt or the life you left behind. You left all of that in the past. The Flash then looked up at the clock and saw that it was about time. So he took Leonard's hand, and just as Leonard woke up and shockingly saw the Flash there, the Flash responded with, "I'm here, Leonard. You and me in the end." And with tears coming down his face, the Flash closed Leonard's eyes. And then he ran to his next stop. 7 years from now, the Flash runs through the city at top speed, grabbing the Trickster while he's in his civilian clothes, and he brings him to the top of a building, where he holds him off of it. You're about to drop robots that you invented that are made from rolled up coins in a bank vault, and it's gonna try and steal that vault. You made a mistake, Flash. You should have grabbed me after I dropped them off. And just then the coin robots begin to attack the Flash. So he drops the Trickster off the side of the building, allowing the Flash to defend himself. As the Flash is fighting them though, the robots take off down the side of the building to catch their master. The Flash then races down the side of the building. It won't be that easy, Trickster, and he destroys every one of the robots, allowing the Trickster to continue to fall. "I'm ready to die, Axel. Are you?" And then the Trickster screams, "I don't want to die!" Attaboy, Axel. And with that, the Flash creates a tornado to carry him and the Trickster down safely. The vault you were going to lift was going to be dropped on a mother, a father, and their 1-month-old baby. And then you committed suicide shortly after. If you ever think about going back to crime, look at this newspaper article and remember. The Flash then throws the newspaper article down to the Trickster and he takes off into the time stream, leaving the Trickster right there again. Confused, the Trickster looks at the newspaper article. 5 years from now, the event that started all of this, the day that Wally West died. The Reverse Flash is running through the city looking for the present-day Flash, screaming, "Come out of hiding, Flash!" But the Blue Flash grabs him by the throat. "This ends now, Daniel." "How are you so strong?" Daniel says as he tries to break free. "I'm not the Flash that you remember, and I'm gonna stop you from killing your nephew and putting your sister in a wheelchair. Wally and Iris have nothing to do with this! I escaped Iron Heights to take you down!" You caused more damage than you thought, and Iris thought that she could talk you down, so she was driving over to stop you, but you damaged the road, and their car was about to flip over. They were so desperate to help you that they never even put on their seatbelts. "Let me go! I can save them!" "No, I'm here now, and I get to be the hero, Daniel." And with that, Blue Flash breaks Daniel's neck. He then runs over to Iris and Wally's car, pulling them out of the car as it flips over. Iris then sees Daniel dead on the ground and realizes that the Flash just killed him. "Get away from him, Wally!" "No, you don't understand." But as Blue Flash is trying to explain, the Flash from the current day arrives, the one in the red costume. Iris and Wally are super confused, but the Flash grabs the Blue Flash thinking that it's Daniel in a new costume. So the Blue Flash removes his mask, showing everyone that it's a future Barry. How is this possible? The Speed Force is damaged because of me. I let too many people claim power from it, and Daniel and Grodd abused it. The wound in the Speed Force is why we're losing time, Barry, and the only solution is to travel back to the point when the wound was at its smallest and seal it. In order to accomplish that, it looks like I'm gonna have to go through you. And Blue Flash punches Red Flash with his full strength, throwing him back. The unstable levels of the Speed Force throw them both back with a giant feedback explosion. With blue and red lightning going off all around them, the Blue Flash grabs the Red Flash and gets ready to end this. So the Red Flash figures, if his future self is going to end this, he has nothing left to lose. And he grabs the Blue Flash's symbol on his chest and he holds onto it tight, forcing the Speed Force feedback to strike them both with full force. But at that exact moment, Wally comes over to see if he can help and he gets struck by the Speed Force feedback. The explosion is huge, leaving a crater on the ground, and the Red Flash is left bleeding out on the ground while the Blue Flash is nowhere to be found. Wally runs over using his new super speed, and he's shocked that he is now officially a speedster. And as the Red Flash dies in Wally's arms, he tells Wally to train and find the Blue Flash in the time stream so that he can end this. With lightning pouring from his eyes, Wally tells Barry he swears he'll stop that twisted version of him. And now, we're at current day, which is where the Blue Flash has been thrown to. Before everything, when the time slipping first started. He takes off for his former house and he grabs the current day Flash while he's making breakfast and he carries him out of the house. They go at lightning speeds to the Salt Flats where Daniel first came crashing out of the mirror world and became the Reverse Flash, where this all started. Blue Flash explains that when the monorail that gave Daniel his powers crashed here, it punctured the Speed Force, and then he went back in time not knowing what he was doing. Barry, look at your watch. It's nearly 10 minutes behind already. Every time you tap into the Speed Force, you lose time. You'll lose more and more, and you'll fail Central City. Look behind you, and you'll see the wound. With a large enough explosion of Speed Force energy, we can seal this wound. And you're the sacrifice! And with that, Blue Flash punches the modern-day Barry Allen. He begins to punch him all over with ease, not having any issues with the fight. You see, it was a few more years until I realized that I should learn to fight. But if you kill me, won't you cease to exist? I saw Back to the Future. The Speed Force doesn't work that way. It won't affect me because I'm not in that time anymore. If it did, I would prevent us from even being born and prevent this entire mess. So current day Barry suits up and the Red Flash begins fighting the Blue Flash. He still doesn't stand a chance though as the Blue Flash just wrecks him again. Blue Flash then grabs Red Flash by the throat and he holds him up to the wound in time, ready to finish this once and for all. When he gets hit by another speedster. Wally West has arrived, grown up and trained. He spent his life learning how to control his powers, and he has now fulfilled his promise to go back in time and stop the Blue Flash. Wally and Blue Flash begin to fight it out, but Wally is better trained than the Blue Flash, and he easily dodges and strikes, getting his hits in. Realizing he's about to lose, Blue Flash throws a series of nails at Red Flash, screaming, "He has to die to end this!" Wally runs in front of the nails, and he takes all of the hits to the chest. "No!" Blue Flash screams as Wally hits the ground. But Wally was granted his powers by absorbing the power from Barry, so his abilities are a little different, and he can absorb all of the Speed Force energy that is pumping into Red Flash right now. So he takes it all in, all of the Speed Force wound energy that's pumping into Red Flash, and he explodes into Speed Force energy. With smoke clearing, only the Blue Flash remains, and he steps forward, realizing that his goal has been accomplished. Wally is gone, and the current day Red Flash is gone. But the Blue Flash's systems read that the Speed Force energy is returning to normal. The plan worked. So where is the Red Flash, our Barry Allen? He wakes up in a jungle with a dinosaur trying to eat him, and as he gets up to run, he realizes he doesn't have the Speed Force anymore. No super speed. How will he get home to fix all of this? And this is the beginning of the Blue Flash arc in the comic books. Personally, I loved this arc because it just adds a unique perspective to the whole Barry Allen character. What do you think of this arc? Did you enjoy it? Do you hate it? And if you want to pick this up, make sure you check out Volume 6, Out of Time. I'm Benny for Comicstorian, and if you enjoyed this story, check out the other videos on the screen right now. You just might like them.